Introducing a new technology layering engine for broadcast, live venues, and presentations. Multi-lane keying and mixed effects with an extraordinary intuitive iPad interface. New from Ensemble Designs.
Hi, I'm Mike Grotticelli with Broadcast Engineering Magazine and BroadcastEngineering.com. I'm here today with Joe Zaller, president of Devoncroft Partners, which is a market research and analyst firm. Hi Joe, how you doing?
Hey Mike, good to see you.
I want to talk a little bit about the trends you're seeing. I know you do a lot of different surveying of the industry,
Sure.
both from the vendor perspective and from the user perspective. In general, first of all, what are you seeing?
So I guess I should start by saying we publish an annual syndicated report called the Big Broadcast Survey.
Okay.
We just finished the data collection from it.
Right.
But about 10,000 people around the world participate.
Wow.
Very big sample sizes. And what we're finding in terms of the trends
Right.
is that the headline figure is that multi-platform is the most important.
Okay.
We publish something called the BBS Trends Index, and what we do is we ask people to tell us what's important to their business commercially. We don't ask about what's cool, we don't ask about what's a hot thing or what might be a topic. We ask very specifically, commercially, what's important to your business over the next couple of years. And we use that data to create a trend, an index of trends. And what we found over the past 4 years is that multi-platform is becoming increasingly important to customers' business models.
When you say customers, is that broadcasters? Is it multi-channel operators?
Sure. So I mean, out of our sample, we have quite a broad spectrum.
Right.
The majority, certainly the largest component of that, are broadcasters, but we also do include service providers, telcos, cable satellite IPTV operators, et cetera.
Okay.
And in the reports,
Right.
we provide very granular breakdown of all that, both on a customer type and regionally and countries and that type of thing.
Right.
So overall, what we're finding is that multi-platform is the most important, but the transition to high definition is also important. File-based workflows are also important. A number of other things.
Why is multi-platform, do you think, most important?
Well, I think for a couple of reasons. When we look at the trends, which by the way is not the same as where money's being spent.
Okay.
But when we look at the trends from the broadcast professional, from the broadcast customer point of view,
Right.
I think there's three things that really stand out, which are manifested by these trends. So the first one is that it's about broadcasters want to remain relevant in a multi-channel universe, and they want to find incremental revenue streams.
Okay.
Let's face it, the business models are changing,
Right.
and so incremental revenue streams are important. Number two, they want to do more with less. They want to create efficiencies, and they want to basically cut costs.
Sure.
Wherever they can, and of course they also want to finish the transition to high definition.
Right.
Which, by the way, there's a heck of a lot of still out in the world.
In different regions of the world.
All over the world. Even the United States. The very
Really?
first time this week, actually, at the IABM, which is the trade association that represents broadcast vendors, we had a session on Saturday here at the show.
Right.
Clyde Smith, who's the head of technology for Fox, said that within 3 or 4 months they're going to have completed the transition to HD at all of their television stations. That's the first time I've heard. This is my 24th NAB,
Right.
and we're talking about HD for 20 years. That's the first time I've heard somebody say that. What they're doing is they're moving on to file-based and they're moving on to multi-platform.
Okay. So you talked about the buying trends sometimes can be very different. What are some of the things that people are actually, technology-wise, are they interested in?
Yeah, this is really interesting because I think when you come to a show like NAB, everybody's looking for a talking point.
Right.
Whether it's a hot technology or whether it's a M&A activity or
For instance, the cloud is something
whatever it
everyone's
is.
talking about.
Yeah, so the cloud is a really interesting thing, and in our trend index, that came in as 7th out of 16. Multi-platform, interestingly, was 9th out of 16 in terms of where people are spending money. So whereas by far and away was the most important thing people are thinking about and talking about and planning in terms of where they're spending money,
Right.
It was actually 9th. And,
Wow,
and
really?
the number one thing still is the transition to high definition. So people, I think, there's a lot of HD left, and remember, we're covering the whole world.
Right.
So different markets are at different stages of their evolution, and of course in our reports we track very granularly where that is.
Right.
Interestingly, the second most important thing, which was also on a percentage basis the biggest increase year over year,
right,
was asset management systems. And I think, when you look at cloud and you look at asset management systems and you look at multi-platform, I think what that says is that in order for companies to move to multi-platform, to move to the cloud, there's other things that need to be in place first. When you move all your content to file-based, now how do you find it?
right,
And how do you monetize it? And how do you get it into 500 delivery formats in 5,000 different resolutions,
right,
and serve ads against it? You need to have a factoryized process to make that important, and I think that those are some of the discussions that are taking place now as part of the move to multi-platform. We need to have other things in place first. So although from everywhere you go at the show, you hear about our multi-platform content monetization cloud.
right.
Actually, there are some other things that need to be in place. And when speaking specifically about cloud, when we ask people what's important, funnily enough, the people that cloud is most important to,
right,
are the people who are trying to sell cloud technology and cloud services. Whereas,
would that be like system integrators, people like that?
Yeah, systems integrators or technology vendors versus broadcasters. It's much less important to you because their commercial priority is still, those three things. It's finishing the transition to high definition.
Yep.
It's finding incremental revenue streams, and it's doing more with less and increasing their efficiency.
Great, great. So you have all this great data now. How do you make it available? How can people get access to it, so to speak?
So well, when you collect a lot of data like this, the great thing is you've got this huge data set, you can slice and dice a million different ways to get a million different answers.
Right.
The bad thing is you have this huge data set, you can slice and dice in a lot of different ways to get a lot of different answers.
Right.
So from a product management point of view, what we tried to do was to create a series of products that meet the needs of most people most of the time. So what we've done is we've segmented, we create three different types of reports. Well, there's also a summary report, and that's available, for free. And I also publish
you have a website,
on my website, devincroft.com. I also publish a lot of this data on the broadcast engineering site in the market research section.
Yep.
So there'll be regular updates there for people to check out, or on the Devincroft website as well. So we produce a market report, and our market report is not about the size of the market. I think,
okay,
having worked in an operational environment in a broadcast vendor, market size is really important. But actually, what's more important is not what somebody bought last year or how big the market is for something. It's really who's going to buy something next year. Where is in a size of a given, the market is a given size.
Right.
Well, who in that market has money? How much do they have? Where are they? What are they spending on? What's important to them? The trends. Where are they spending it? The projects I mentioned. What do they think of me and my company and my technology? How do they benchmark me against my competition? That's what the three report types, which is a market report, a brand study. So we do very comprehensive brand studies. We covered 152 vendors this year. And also we do product reports in 30 different categories.
Wow.
So that's how the reports are made available. Our typical customer is our broadcast technology vendors, but we also work with private equity companies, we work with banks, we work with strategy consultants.
Wouldn't also broadcasters perhaps want some of this material as well?
I think so. Particularly there are certain things, and we do get a lot of calls from broadcasters,
right,
wanting to validate some of their
right,
their business models. Certainly at a high level, we publish a lot of information for free. One of the things that we do is produce a lot of content that that people can use, and certainly a lot of this would be interesting to broadcasters, either in terms of validating what they're doing,
right,
or in terms of maybe evaluating a vendor that they're working with, and how does that stack up to other people. But our core market, to be honest, is the technology vendor, because this is the kind of thing that when you put these three things together, these three different types of reports, our market report, our brand report, and our product report,
right,
they work together as a strategic toolkit to help people better engage with the market. But certainly, it's anybody who's interested in what's going on in the industry, they provide tremendous value for.
Great. Thank you, Joe.
Okay.
Mike Graticelli, Broadcast Engineering.